Okay, so I did my oral presentation for Drama 15 on the Zoot Suit, written by Luis Valdez. So, for those of you who don't know what the Zoot Suit is, and if you see me looking over here, it's because I have my handy dandy notes that I'm going to use, because I'm really bad at talking in front of people. So, one of the central themes in my play that I found most prominent is that of racism, which kind of also ties into cultural beliefs. It also ties into a little bit of hatred, a little bit of pride, that goes both ways between Mexican Americans and Americans. So basically, the Zoot suit was an actual suit that was worn by Mexican Americans as an example of pride and representing their heritage and their culture and being proud basically of where they came from. You know, us as Americans, we have certain clothes that we like to wear that represents our heritage, and same thing with Italians and every other race. We all have our ways of representing ourselves. And so this suit originated in the 1940s. And it was kind of a weird looking suit. It was kind of like mafia status and had like these wide lapels. And lapels are like kind of like a collar. And they're really wide and they have these really padded shoulders, like Lady Gaga kind of. And the pants were black. So it was all a black suit, and the pants were really wide at the top, so almost like they were really poofy, and then at the bottom they were really tight and like hugged their ankles, like skinny jeans. And then there was like a chain that hung down all the way to their ankles. So really like kind of gangster status. This is what it looked like. It was really interesting. And it was worn by a small population of the Mexican Americans. So again, it's worn to represent pride and to kind of break away from the traditional culture that Mexican Americans were tied to. And the main character in the play, Henry, that's really why he used it in the first place, was just to kind of break away from the everyday Mexican American culture. He's coming to a land because they're immigrants, him and his family. He's coming to a land where there's pop culture and all these different kinds of culture, and he's having a really hard time relating. So he finds this as an outlet, as a way to express himself. But unfortunately, most of the people that wear these suits are tied into gang activity, crime, violence, you name it, that's what they're affiliated with. So his parents, being regular, normal, loving parents, don't want their son, their little baby, to be a part of that, because it seems like it's a violent, gang-related community, and nobody wants their child participating in that. So in Henry's defense, he's like, no, Mom and Dad, like, this is not what I'm dealing with. I'm not a gangster. I don't do crime, even though he has been involved in crimes. So his parents are like, well, you've kind of done something wrong, so seems like you're kind of teetering on the line of being a part of these gangsters, I guess you can say. But in reality, Henry's really using this as an outlet to find himself and to break away from traditional heritage and culture that falls upon his race, and trying to break away from the white culture, Americans, because that's not who he is. And he's really trying to figure out who he is, just like everybody does when they're in their teen years. You know, some people go through their gothic phase, and some people go through their, like crazy hair colored phase and whatever else. So he's just a normal kid, trying to figure out his way, and his parents don't like it. So let me glance down at my notes really quick. So besides race being a factor, one of the main reasons that I picked this play was because it really focused on culture, and with race comes culture. So basically, just to touch on race a little bit more, the white man and the Mexican American man were really just having this like all-out battle. And the Zoot Suit play actually comes from a little bit of fiction, a little bit of reality. So we're gonna go back to the reality side of it. In reality, these two cultural groups clash because the Mexican Americans are immigrants. They're coming in to America. They're trying to establish themselves. They're trying to work. They're trying to bring their lifestyle here and be accepted culturally, racially, mentally, you name it. They're trying to establish respect for themselves here. And they're coming into a land that's already populated by white people. It's just like with the slaves, or if you take yourself, if you're a white person, put yourself in Italy, put yourself in France. You don't know anybody, so it's going to be really hard for you to try to gain respect because people already have made up stereotypes, they already have stuff in their head about you, so it's going to be more hard for you to have respect there. And that's exactly what's happening here. So most of the people that were a part of the Zoot Suits were sailors. So they're coming home from the war, they're getting off these boats, kind of macho, egotistical mind frame, and they have respect. People love them. They're heroes. So they're coming back here. They're doing whatever they want basically because they feel like they're entitled, and the Mexican Americans are like, no, we're not having it. This is our land. And not our land, per se, but I own this land. I own this house. My family lives here, and you're not allowed to act this way. So that's really what caused the fights to break out and why they were called Zoot Suits, because it was just this battle of like, I'm right, no, I'm right, and I want to be the macho man, and I want to be the macho man. So it was just kind of like a lot of testosterone trying to like battle it out and find the respect, the happy medium of you can be respected and I can be respected too. It's not I'm right and you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. It's let's just be right together and be respectful and understand each other. So let me flip my notes over. So now ties to culture. So just to break it down in layman's terms, Henry's family are immigrants. They're hardworking people. They have been through life. They're adults. They know that Henry's going through the phase where he's trying to figure things out, but he's kind of running with the wrong crowd. He wears a zoot suit to be prideful, to show his family that, like, look, I'm proud of where we came from, and this is going to help me prove that I'm proud of where I came from, while also breaking him away from the traditional cultural racial beliefs of a Mexican. So he's in a place, like I said, where he's trying to balance pop culture, American culture, and he's trying to balance his own culture, and he's trying to find himself. So the zoot suit was an outlet for him to find his own way of life, to have new friends, to make a name for himself, a new group, a new stereotype that wasn't so stereotypical to the fact of him being just a Mexican immigrant, which is understandable. However, the way that it's reflected and the way that his parents look at it is, no, you've been in trouble, you've been down a path of self-destruction, and we don't want you going down that path again. So basically, they just kind of battle it out. Henry wants to be respected. He wants to have his own identity separate from the typical race and culture of the Mexican American. His parents want him to have his own identity, but still be respectful of what they want, and that being from a Mexican immigrant family isn't as bad as he's making it out to be. And what they would like him to do is to join the military, to get his life on track, to be a part of something that's more positive so that he's not being involved in gang-related crime and violence. And even though he's not, the people that are wearing these suits tend to be in these gang-related activities. So what ends up happening is they kind of go back and forth for a while, and Henry's really angry and his parents are really angry, and they end up meeting halfway in the middle. And the zoot suit kind of turns out to be a positive for him because it brings him to the military and it brings him into his own. So he experienced all this stuff and had the battle of trying to figure out who he was and why he was here and how to, separate his own culture and America's culture and who he wanted to be and what aspects of the cultures and races that he wanted to take into his own. And he decides to go into the military. He decides to become a Marine and better his life. And who doesn't like a Marine? They're awesome. So essentially the zoot suit becomes a positive for Henry because it makes him realize that a suit isn't going to make me stand out from what I am. It's not going to change me. I don't need to wear a suit to make me more prideful of where I come from. It's not, if anything, it's just going to make him look worse because he is running around with people that are wearing these suits that are creating a bad name for their culture. It's not a positive thing. But what is a positive thing is that he realizes all of this, and instead of trying to rebel so much, even though it was in a positive way to him, he he takes all of it into consideration and he understands, wow, okay, I don't need to do this or act this way just to be accepted through my race and through my culture. I can be proud of where I came from. I can like aspects of American culture, and I can still have my own identity. Just because I'm a Mexican American immigrant doesn't mean that I have to abide by all of these cultural aspects of it, all these racial aspects, and I don't have to be the stereotype. And just because I live in America doesn't mean that I have to be, I have to wear Converse and I don't know, whatever else we wear, and I don't have to watch Barney and SpongeBob. It's like he can understand that there's a happy medium and doesn't have to just be A or B. He can be C, both of them. So he can be accepted racially and culturally in a positive way, and he can be himself, and he can make decisions for himself that are going to better his life and better himself. So the racial and cultural factors, as you can see here, race is battling between a Mexican American and a white American and trying to find the medium of where I have my respect and you have your respect. And then the cultural, racial aspect part of it is between Henry and his parents because they want him to be this way and he wants to be this way. And he feels like he has to rebel and do all these things and be kind of the bad boy to be respected. But in the end, he understands, no, I don't have to be that way. And his parents understand why he was acting this way in the first place. So it's a really interesting play. Has a lot of great views, a lot of great different struggles, a lot of individual things that can be lessons. And that was the one thing that stuck out to me was race, racial ideas and culture, pride, hatred. A lot of different issues are addressed. So it's a great play. So I chose to do my essay on it, and I hoped you liked it. And kind of suck at giving oral presentations, but again, my name is JC Derby, and this is oral presentation for Drama 15, general ed requirement, and I hope you guys liked it. Thanks!